let me go to the Snowflake console. Let's see, this is like, you can always set up your trial account. You can say trial account, trial.snowflake.com, and you can set up a trial account for Snowflake here. And this will give you $400 credit. And here you can just sign up, and I have already done the sign up. You can just sign up. Maybe I would recommend go for the enterprise edition when you are signing up. When you specify all these details, then it will give you an option like, do you want to sign up for the standard edition or enterprise edition? So I suggest you to go for the enterprise edition. So I have already set up this thing. So this is like my user interface for Snowflake, and this is my account. And you will see I'm right now using AWS and US East 2. So this is my account ID. So in the user interface, you will find I am logged in and I am a sysadmin role. But if I switch this role to account admin is the highest role. Then can you see right now there is no account tab? When I switch to account admin role, then I will see one account tab, and account tab will have all the information related to usage, billing, and I can set up resource monitors and many other things I can do. Can you see now I have the account tab? And when I click on the account tab, then I will be able to see like how much usage I have made, and policies, roles, users, sessions, and other things you can see. But I will first show you the basic things like sysadmin. I'm switching back to the sysadmin. So I was just showing you some tab, like account tab is not visible when you are a sysadmin. Your account tab will be visible only when you are a account admin. That is, account admin is the highest role in Snowflake. So now we have different databases. So I'm saying use this particular database. I will say run it. Control enter is the shortcut that I have used. And then I'm saying use schema this. So there is a concept of schema. So within database, I'm just writing here, going back to the whiteboard. So Snowflake organizes the data in this manner. So in Snowflake, we have account. Within account, we have multiple databases. Within databases, we have multiple schemas. Within schemas, we have multiple like tables and views and stored procedures and many other things. So these are views and sequences and stored procedures. So these things are there. These are all DB objects. So I just shown you like we are logged into a Snowflake account, and one account, star means many. It has many databases. So some are like pre-populated databases which are given by Snowflake, and some are user defined. I can always define my own database. And schema, there is one which is called information schema, and this information schema has metadata, or it can be user defined schema. So we have, this is like a metadata. You can actually query this metadata. We will see one example. And tables are temporary table, which is for the current session, transient table, which is for the current user, and then we have permanent table, which is available in two editions, like standard edition and enterprise edition. And then we have external tables, like you can fire queries on data which is stored externally in AWS or Azure or GCP. So these are external tables, not managed by Snowflake, but you can fire federated queries on external data. So views also multiple types. So secure views, and then we have materialized views, and then we have normal views. So all these things are there in Snowflake. So coming back to this, and when I run this query, just see I'm selecting the schema because within database we have schema. So this particular data set is sample data, and this is provided by Snowflake itself. And this sample data, we are able to fire queries on this data set, and this data set is for load testing. So if you want to do load testing, so I am just firing this query. So in this particular query, I am asking for minimum shipping date and maximum shipping date, and I will show you the count, how many records are there. Can you see there are more than 600 million 600 million records are there, and my query is running so fast. My query is running so fast. So I want to show you the query plan. So can you see I am retrieving minimum date and maximum date from the line item. When I do that, I can show you the query plan. So let's go to the query ID, go inside the query profile. And when I look at the count star, so actually, can you see my results were very, very fast because it is making use of cache. So that's why it is saying that query result reuse, because I executed this query earlier. Now it is not even executing this query. It is able to get the data directly from the cache rather than getting it or executing the query again. So this is like one advantage. Second thing, like if you get, I go to the history, I have shown you one query, this select minimum date and maximum date. If I go inside this query, then you will see the query profile is showing that it is query is 100% reused. By default, the result cache is enabled and the data is actually, or the query results are being retrieved from the result cache. So that's what I am showing right now. And this particular data is not even going, like not even being retrieved from the storage layer. It is retrieved from the metadata layer, from the services layer itself, right? So I wanted to show you these things because you will get to know that these operations are just metadata operation. This particular operation is metadata operation because these are statistics of the table, and this is automatically maintained by Snowflake. We don't have to run analyze table to actually get these statistics. We are able to retrieve this information from the metadata, that is services layer. Similarly, you can create data catalog also. So this is comments. So you can create, like if there is any comment on the table, then you can get it from there. If there is no comment, then it will show no comment recorded. Similarly, you can generate dynamic, maybe dynamic queries. You must have done it in other databases also. How do we create these dynamic queries, the dynamic statements? So you can create these dynamic statement from the info, like data dictionary itself, like from the information schema, you can generate these statements dynamically, right? So a lot of things are possible. So apart from that, like I was referring to this um, services layer, and this storage layer actually stores data um, in FDN format, and it is columnar format, and there are many advantages of storing data in columnar format because the data is stored in an optimized manner. And uh, I will give you some background about storage layer. So what happens in storage layer? The data is stored in the micro partitions. So you know what is the problem with Hive partitioning storage layer? We have data stored in micro partitions. Micro partitions are actually 10 MB compressed. This is the size of micro partition. So these micro partitions are basically immutable files in Snowflake, and they are like able to overcome the problems with Hive partitioning. So uh, do you know like the problems with the Hive Hive partitioning specifically? So I will first talk about the problems with Hive partitioning, data skew issues, right? So this is one problem. Second problem is we have to maintain it ourselves. So we are responsible for maintaining partitions, right? So this is another big problem, right? And apart from that, like if your access patterns are changing, then you have to duplicate data, big data. So for maybe one predicate, it is working fine. But if you are having multiple other attributes coming as part of predicate or where clause, then it will be a problem. So predicate, right, needs to be maintained, right, as consistent with the partitions that you have maintained, right? Apart from that, it happens that you through Hive, you are maybe creating partitions. It's fine. Everything is okay because Metastore is in sync. This is Metastore. But if let's say you do something through Spark, in Spark, you are writing something in HDFS. So then Hive is not aware. So you created some partition through Spark, but Hive is not aware. So then you have to do repair table. You have to repair table. You have to use MSCK repair table, and you need to ensure that Hive metadata is also in sync with the data that we got in HDFS. So Spark just stored a new partition on HDFS. So then we have to ensure that Hive metadata is in sync with this. So this is another problem. So there are multiple issues. So in order to overcome these issues, Snowflake takes a different approach. Snowflake stores data in micro partitions, and these are fixed size partitions, fixed size partition. So that means there is no skew issue, data skew issue. And you know, like this is immutable file, and this is columnar storage, columnar data storage. and there are 100 advantage, like so many advantages of columnar storage. Like you can do dictionary encoding, you can do delta encoding, you can do run length encoding, and many other things. So one table can have millions of micro partitions, can have millions of micro partitions, right? So this is like how it is structured. So actually micro partitions, they are nothing but they are like a group of rows, but each group of row will have column chunks, right? The way Parquet is organized. So that's why like this micro partitions are very unique in nature. So if you go to Snowflake micro partitions, so you will find the images. Just see how Snowflake is storing this micro partitions. I just open this in new tab, open image in new tab, and there you will be able to appreciate. Let's say we have 12 rows or 24 rows, and this is like 10 MB, 10 MB, 10 MB, 10 MB. So 1 to 6 rows are stored here, 7 to 12 rows are stored here, 13 to 18 rows are stored here, and 19 to 24 rows are stored here. So rows are stored like this, and each column, because it is a columnar storage, so column chunks are there within row group, and you can see like we have these, like one particular row. See this thing in blue color, how this data is getting stored. See this thing in red color, how this data is getting stored.